Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Awakening into Freedom podcast. And my name is Chris, and I'm looking forward to sharing this first episode with you. And today we are looking at cultivating authentic connection. And this might be part one in this topic because it's a pretty big topic to look at, but very important. So yeah, plenty to say on this, and I think I'll give some sort of thoughts about what I think might be helpful in terms of creating more connection, cultivating more connection, and I might draw from some of my own experiences in doing that, and hopefully give you some new things to consider in your journey with connection. And yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing a few things. So yeah, I'd love to start with the topic of basically being in our body. And this is really important so that we are present. I mean, when we're in our body, it means, we're aware of our experience in terms of sensations, in terms of connection to our energy, our life force, and it also means we're present. So alternatively, it's very common for us to be trapped in the mind or constantly sort of floating into the mind or just being caught up in it. And obviously, this can take us into the past or the future thoughts. It can take us out of presence, and it can be a harder place to connect with other people and even with a deeper part of ourselves if we're sort of in our mind a lot of the time. Particularly if we're sort of exclusively in our mind. Now, you could say we're always in our mind, and to some degree that is true. Even if we're very much in our body, we're still aware of what's in our mind too. So that's really what I mean. I mean, it's about not leaving our body behind. It's about not just exclusively being in our mind and our thoughts, because we may be missing out on a lot if that is the case, and we may be sort of moving in a direction that may not be conducive to, being aware of what we're actually needing and maybe being aware of what others are needing, which means it can be more difficult to connect. So yeah, I would just, I would make it a practice to, even something like meditation, just to practice breathing, practice feeling what's going on in my body, what's sensations am I aware of, and it could be subtle or it could be something more obvious, but just the whole intention and practice of bringing some attention to our physicality and our body is a really good practice, and there's so many benefits to it, and it is really a journey as well. And, we can talk about that more. But basically, we all have a different relationship with our mind and our body, and we all have different backgrounds and experiences, and perhaps even reasons why we are maybe very connected or not so connected, or somewhere in between. So yeah, it's just become curious and sort of factor that into your relationship with self and your relationship with others and the way you communicate. And which really brings me to another point around how to cultivate authentic connection it's sort of this ability to trust ourselves, and a lot of that does come from paying attention to our experience. And for example, I might be having a conversation, but my experience may be taking me somewhere very different. And if I were to trust myself, I might be able to honor my actual experience and find a way to include it in the conversation. Or at least, I need to be able to honor that experience so that I'm not sort of talking about one thing, but being somewhere else entirely. And I know that in the past I would have been more susceptible to that. And even feeling like, it has taken a bit of work quite a bit of work, I would say, to get better in that regard, where nowadays I'm instead of sort of perhaps having interaction and having all these feelings or things going on with me that are very different to what it is I'm talking about, now I will try and sort of bring those two closer together so that I'm kind of all in. I'm really there, and there isn't a certain element of discernment that I will draw upon in doing that. And what I mean by that is, I may not need to include all of the details in my experience in all of my communication, but I may want to sort of share what I need to share in the moment. And it could be something as simple as, I'm noticing this tiredness, or this I'm noticing this distraction that I'm having from there's something else coming up for me around that, and a lot of my attention is there at the moment, and then maybe that's also an opportunity for me to take some leadership in the conversation, and maybe it's incumbent on me to sort of look after myself in the conversation. And it's not about controlling the conversation, but it is about including myself in it, and sort of letting the other person know, even like, this is where I'm at, and I really sort of need to acknowledge that for the benefit of both of us. And it may be something that the other person can connect with me about, or maybe it's a sign that, the conversation can wrap up, and there's so many nuances to navigating this, but it's just, I guess this comes from my journey of, in my younger years, being quite distant from my real embodied experience, and therefore not really having a strong sense of where I am and what I really need in the moment. And as a result of that, I would find myself kind of getting depleted a lot, because I'm really not there fully looking after myself. So it really is about looking after myself and looking after the other person, because I'm really acknowledging like what's really here. And that means a level of self-awareness. It means a level of trust, where I trust myself enough to just acknowledge what's present, like what's moving in me, what's and how do I want to relate that to whoever it is that I'm talking to. And depending on who I'm talking to, and even the situation we're in, I may choose to relate it a certain way, and in another situation I may go into more detail or less detail. So again, that comes back to that sense of trust, and I guess the next thing I'll say about communication, which relates to this, and connection and authentic connection, is it is a practice, and it is such a great path for growth if we are really honoring our experience in the process of connecting. And really that's where the connection comes from. It comes from, it's not just about sharing a bunch of thoughts and then listening to someone else do the same. It's about like, can I really deepen into my experience, and can I really own my experience, or can I continue my relationship with my present experience and not keep just sort of going somewhere else that's outside of me, or isn't really, the main thread that's running through me, or it isn't somewhere I'm even wanting to go. Like that's not going to help me grow if that's what's happening. So I need to keep bringing it back to or just paying attention to bringing my awareness back to hang on, what's really alive for me, and can I accommodate this in this interaction, or in how I'm connecting to myself and connecting with someone else, and relating to myself and relating to someone else. So so there's some thoughts, and there is a lot to say on this topic about authentic connection, but hopefully that's given you a few ideas, and it may resonate with you, and maybe it's something you're already doing quite well, and it's just I've given you a sort of a different perspective on it, but it may sort of resonate with you already, or maybe it's aroused some curiosity for you as well. Whatever the case may be, I hope it's been helpful, and for you to listen to this today. And this is the first episode, and I'm looking forward to sort of diving into more of these topics around awakening into freedom, and connection is definitely a big one, and we'll be exploring other things in the near future, and there's an intention to have some special guests joining me, so that's coming up too. So I'm pretty excited about this endeavor, this podcast, and I've definitely been feeling this desire to share more of myself, and share my voice, and share what my experiences, and what I've learned from my experiences, and with the intention of hopefully connecting with people, and inspiring, or helping, or supporting, or any of the above. And I know that I'm a big fan of podcasts myself, and interviews, and I've listened to countless different podcasts and interviews, and I really just find so many people fascinating to listen to, and there's so much I can sort of relate to or learn from, and it is a way I like to spend my time. So it kind of makes sense that I would want to have my own podcast, and there's something about sound as well. I'm a musician, so sound is really important. So I do like hearing people's voices, and I think speaking and listening to the human voice is just such a vital part of connection for me. That's a bit of an intro for me. Hope you enjoyed the session, the podcast today. And yeah, look forward to more in the very near future. We'll definitely be back with more episodes soon. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon.